good morning, wherever you are, Moreno Valley, Inland Empire. I am Donovan Sadiq. I'm the Inland Empire Informer, and I am going to inform you about a special election that took place in the city of Moreno Valley yesterday, April 12th, 2022. I'm also known, by the way, as a recovering Democrat nationally, but again, we had a very, very special election, and I've been on top of this election since it was formulated because it affects me directly because I live in this very district. Okay, it looks like we do have a winner with 100% of the precincts reporting. And let's just get a little demographics here going for you guys. The voters cast 1,336 votes. 1,336 votes were cast out of a possible 19,963 eligible voters in District 1. That is a 6.69% voter turnout. Now, a lot of people that are seeing this might say, oh my God, wow, what a low voter turnout. Actually, we usually average around 5% or a little bit less. So we had a 2% increase in our voter turnout. And like I've been saying on the show, but again, it's just so sad that people just, because they don't like you or they don't care for you, they think you don't know what you're talking about. In the last 6 to 7 years, people who were not here for the WLC wars and these which is basically the warehouse wars that we had, have been gentrified out of LA, and they've come this way, and they don't know what's going on. They don't know the cliques that are happening here in Moreno Valley, and they have been happening here. So I've been telling the candidates, you need to get as much exposure to get those people who don't know what's going on. And the best way to do that is to go on as many social platforms as you can to expose yourself. You can't use the same old tactics. This is the problem with black people with the Democratic Party. Civil rights era tactics, they don't work nowadays. 60 years later, that doesn't work. Nobody cares that you're protesting. How many of you guys remember that video that I did at the Women's Club where Jerry Mercado was speaking on the marijuana dispensary? There was a old black lady that was running in District 2, and that's against Ed Delgado, and they were all running in the special election for that one. Remember, number one, she didn't know that she's in public and she could be photographed. So you're running for public office and you don't know your basic constitutional rights. But, again, the prototypical black era civil rights person, right? This woman's 71 years old. She lives out here in Moreno Valley. Has been living here. I can't remember her name. Brown, I believe it was. You're living in Moreno Valley for 13 years and you're 70-something years old. And you think you're going to knock on door to door to door in a desert environment at 70-something years old. I'm 50. I'll be 52. I don't want to knock on any doors. I don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it in my 40s, and it hurt me badly. It hurt me badly walking on doors. But you're 71 and you're going to do it. So tactics of 60 years ago doesn't work. So, as long as you're protesting, nobody's worried about you. Nobody's worried. You can protest all you want. What you've got to do is you have to inform the electorate, and you use social media and other platforms to do just that. So, so those tactics don't work. So, here I was telling people, you're dealing with a different group of people that have just come in here, and you've got to grab those people because the people that have been here, we know, what's what and who we like and who we don't like, blah, 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 blah. Correct. But even go back 13 years ago, the things that worked here in Moreno Valley, that shit doesn't work. These cliques are dying out because the very people are getting older, and unfortunately they're passing on or they're moving out of the city. So the cliques are breaking up. So you need to grab the younger demographics of people. And a lot of those people have come here out of LA, Orange County, and they are now implanted here. So, but nobody wants to listen to that because, we just hate Donovan and he doesn't know what he's talking about, even though I never stopped politicking. This is what I do. This is what I report on. This is what I live for. So let me give you the breakdown real quick. Okay, Eilana Baca Santa Cruz, she won with 500, and again, it's very hard for me to see these things. I got my tablet so I can blow this thing up. Eilana Baca Santa Cruz won with 550 votes. 550. Special election out of 1,336 votes. Eilana got 550 of them. Rene Ramos, which is what I told you guys, this was going to be a close election. Go back and look at my videos. I said, do not sleep on a dark horse candidate. They can sneak in there and take votes from other potentially candidates. He came out with 345. 345. So 215 votes. No, 205 votes separated him from Eilana Baca. And then Jerry Mercado had 422. 422, which is approximately, let me get my thing out here, which is approximately 128 votes. 128 votes. Now, hypothetically, if Rene Ramos wasn't in there, that 345 that he got, where would those votes have gone? So I'm going to say this. A lot of people are mad at me, and I'll get to that in a second. But I don't know if Rene Ramos was put in there as a vote splitter or not. I don't know, okay? But I do know he ran a good campaign. He ran a Joe Biden type campaign, like a basement, keep him, under wraps. But he still garnered 345 votes. That's significant, right? But let's say he was put in there by a vote splitter. Okay, let's just say, hypothetically. Now, again, this is hypothetical. This is all hypothetical. Now, using my critical thinking skills, it wouldn't make sense for Eilana Baca to put in a person to split votes, as she is the daughter of the previous incumbent and she has the Baca last name. And in politics, if you watch the movie The Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy, that's what they talk about in the movie. He had a name recognition. And a lot of people, because we are dead people when it comes to politics, we vote based on name recognition. This is the same person that has been representing me for years. I just know the name. Johnson, the name you know. So she had name recognition, and she is her mother's daughter. Okay. So that would make sense for her to put in a vote splitter, because politically, she would garner a lot of her mother's supporters. Okay. So let's just say some forces put in a vote splitter. That would take more votes away from other candidates. So in this race, that would take more votes away from Jerry Mercado, okay? Politically, it definitely would. And here's another thing. You do not put a vote splitter in a special election if that's what happened. I don't know, we're speculating. If that's what happens, you do not put a vote splitter in a special election. You don't do it. And those of us that have been here long enough that knows how the percentage of our voting is, you definitely don't put a vote splitter in a special election in Moreno Valley when we have an average voter output of 5% on average. So, again, I know people don't like me, but I do know politics, and I was almost dead on right that the dark horse candidate came in here and almost snuck in here and won an election, and he did it beautifully. He did it masterfully. I've said in this town, he that has the biggest signs usually gets elected, and all three of these candidates had big signs, and this was what was going to happen, and I saw it. I saw it coming down the pipe. Other people saw it. Shante Wilder, she was calling out stuff that is like unusual to the town, but it runs in a certain narrative. So if you're going to run for office here in Moreno Valley, you need to learn from this election. Congratulations to Eilana Baca, Santa Cruz. Congratulations to all of the candidates. This was a great, great race politically, looking at it politically. Now, some people who've emailed me and texted me are kind of mad at me because Eilana Baca, Santa Cruz, came on the show early. Okay, she came on. People from LA that did not know her were impressed. Some people were impressed. I'm not saying that my show did all of that, but in 7 to 8 years, the gentrification that has happened out in LA and Orange County has brought new people here that don't know nothing about Moreno Valley politics. All they know is they see this crazy black guy on this little local show, and they see this candidate that's running in this district, right? And if they've heard about me or then they'll say, yeah, that's this crazy black guy in Edgemont. He just kind of goes off on people and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, he's been here a long time. You know, he's an old timer, right? But they see this young lady on the show who presents herself in a way that probably got her 5 votes, 6 votes. I'm being generous. We see the vote count. When you run for office, you cannot shy away from a camera unless you're going to do a basement type campaign. Herschel Walker's doing it right now up in Georgia. He's not showing up to forums, doesn't want to show up. He's the front runner right now because people are pissed. He's the front runner. Hasn't shown up to nothing. Wife beater, allegedly, domestic violence cases, that's a fact. He's a front runner. Hasn't shown up to nothing, can barely speak. The man can barely speak. He's a front runner. But that's a form of campaigning, and that's the campaign that Renee Ramos ran. But you can't take a lot of these voters for granted because they want to get a feel for who you are, correct? So in this election, when you have 3 Hispanic names, Hispanics vote as a block. Black people vote as a block. Now, as I said before in my previous videos, Hispanics come in as Democrats, okay? A lot of people come in under Democratic policies, Democratic immigration policies and stuff like that. But I'm a very smart person. I do realize California, New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona, Oregon, this was all part of Mexico, okay? New Mexico. This was all part of Mexico. Texas, this was all Mexico. So you have native Hispanics here. So I don't want to disparage people or think that I'm just saying, oh, they're illegal. That ain't what I'm talking about. But people that immigrate here come here on Democratic policies mostly, because as you saw, Trump tried to build the wall to keep slow immigration down, right? So they come here. They work hard, they do what they do. Then as they open their own businesses and they start doing things, they become Republicans. They become conservative because they want tax breaks on their businesses. They want this, so they want that, they want this. So half of the Hispanic population votes Democrat. Half of them, just about half, don't give me the numbers kind of off, but I think the majority is still Democratic, but like very few numbers. But just about half of them are conservative, half of them are liberal. But that's how the Hispanics roll. This election was nonpartisan, so it didn't matter what your party is. Blacks as a whole, we vote 98% Democratic. Idiots we are, but that's what we do. Asians, again, they come in kind of like the other groups, the Hispanic groups. They come in under Democratic policies. Then as they become homeowners and landlords and business owners and all that other stuff, half of them vote Republican. Asians are, as a group, the richest group in the United States because they have all the money. That's why they can get a Asian protection bill, because they can buy it and say, hey, you're going to give us a bill because we got the bag. You know what I mean? So, and these are just facts of how we do it. So human nature is, you would think that this person looks like you or sounds like you, you're going to vote. So in this election, you had 3 Hispanic people who ran, which is a problem if you're going to run, because now this is going to split the Hispanic vote. And how do a group of people who are the majority gonna decipher what candidate is what if they don't know? So you have to put yourself out there. And not a lot of people, but some people are blaming me for the fact that Eilana showed up on my show and did very well for herself. Probably got her about 5 votes. 5 votes. Because, nobody watches my show. From what I've been told, nobody watches my show. But how is it my fault for giving all of these candidates a platform to show themselves or not show themselves, and then they get mad when they lose the election? You got to go out there and get all the votes you possibly can get. And Eilana wasn't afraid to come on my show, knowing how politically I treated her mother, was not a big fan of her mother, and she still came on the damn show. And that is very, very telling of a person who is putting aside the bullshit and wants to do the job. All this stuff is a job interview. If you don't show up to candidate forums and you don't show up out there knocking on doors or whatever you're doing in your campaign, I mean, Jesus, if I was running right now to talk to a bunch of people because I have a platform, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, you could do it that way and let people know what you're doing. The old way of doing stuff doesn't work. Okay, you put some literature in my mailbox. Yeah, I'm going to get it and glance at it. You put a door hanger on my door hanger. Okay, I'm going to glance at it and throw it away. No big deal. But when I'm home and I'm relaxing, I'm just surfing on the web. I'm on Facebook and I see Roy Bleckert's thing. I'm kind of familiar with Roy's thing. And then I see the candidates on there. Yeah, I'm going to get an idea for, these candidates. So for somebody like myself who constantly is being told that nobody watches my show, these people's candidate loses and it's my fault. At the most, according to them, since nobody watches my show, Eilana probably got 5 votes, if she got any votes at all. But she did show she wasn't afraid. And she did very well on the show. She was very impressed on the show. I was impressed on the show. She was like, hey, this is what I believe. This is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. How do we know what the other candidates were going to do based on, not seeing them? We tried to highlight the candidates at the Edgemont Women's Club forum. And it became a circus for no reason at all. No reason at all. Why did they want to not be seen? I don't know. The candidates didn't have a problem with it. So anyway, I want to thank all of those candidates that ran. Your time is going to come. Renee Ramos, it was your first time running. You did very well. You did very well. And it would be a big mistake for you not to run in the next election, because now you have name recognition. People are going to remember those signs. Keep your signs. Do not put them in the garage. Do something. Do not throw those signs away. Keep those signs, because if somebody, let's say 20 years from now, somebody that has the name Ramos runs, they just cut out your name and then use the Ramos part, and you could sell, get some of your money back if you're going to, do that. But do not forget, you guys, we're going to have to do this in another 2 years. Yes, Eilana will be the incumbent, but we don't know what she's going to do. She's a young woman. She's a young mother. She has a family. She has a career. She's doing that. We don't know what she's going to do. We don't know. Jerry, you're known in politics. Keep those signs, brother. Keep those signs. Keep those signs. We don't know if you're going to run again. But, you never say never. You never say never. I ran twice. I lost twice. And I was done. I mean, it was just too much. Not that it was too much for me. I just realized that demographically, as a Black person, the support numbers in my district are not there. Okay? So to run is very, very difficult in this city when you don't even have your own people as a support base. It is said, and if you look at the numbers, it's kind of accurate, that if you are a white person or a black person, the chances of you being elected is almost slim to none. You could be appointed to maybe the planning commission, but to be elected to a Moreno Valley seat, the numbers are not there. This is a predominantly Hispanic city. And if you look at the numbers on the city council, we have Ed Delgado, Ulysses Cabarrus, Dave Marquez, and now we have Eilana Baca de Santa Cruz. 4 names of Hispanic, Spanish, please, like I said, it's difficult for me to know the thing, but of that Hispanic origin, Latin origin, 4 out of 5 seats. 4 out of 5 seats. The mayor, get to this. Does a black person every now and then jump on the dais? Yes. Carla Thornton was the last one, and she died in office, unfortunately. It does happen, but how did she get on the seat? She took big money from developers. And I'm not here to be negative toward Carla Thornton. I'm just telling you, it would take a lot of money to be black or white to get on the dais. Good example, Carrie Thin. She has run for just about everything and can't seem to get elected. And the reason is she's not reading the political tea leaves. She's just not reading it. If I was in her position as a black man, and like I said, I like Dr. Thin's passion, but you've got to read the political tea leaves. It would be better for her to get an appointment than to keep running and spending those resources, or hold back, build up your resources, then run. Wait for the opportunity, then run. LaDonna Jimson, white woman, whatever. We see what happened and how much of the power she was willing to do. She was willing to just engage in a coup that made papers and basically once again embarrassed herself as she got disgraced and removed from the dais. So it's very difficult if you are black or white to get elected in this town if you don't have the money to do it. So that's where it's at. So again, and you guys saw I was at ROV and I showed you it was like a ghost town. It was like a ghost town there. Very difficult to get elected. So congratulations to Eilana Baca Santa Cruz. Again, this is a very, very good lesson in how to run community politics without big money in it. So kudos to all of the candidates. Do not get rid of those signs. Do not get rid of those signs. You never know. You might move to a new community. You could use those signs again. You could use those signs again if that's what you want to do. I'm Donovan Sadiq, the Inland Empire Informer. You've just been informed.